Dear Grace, this is it. The last episode of Dear Grace. Last episode of anything on this site. I'm done. I am creating a new site, but I'm not linking to it from this site. Using my real name. Maybe not for the site name, but everywhere else. However, if anyone wants to listen to the new series, send an email to iamthegod@gmail.com and either give me a reason to send you a link to the new site, your own story, or an electronic gift card for pizza. Otherwise, bugger off. I'm done with this audience, except for you, Grace. Am I clear? David Joseph, Gervais, whatever. Not trying to be dramatic, Grace. But quite frankly, the site's not working for me. And it serves no purpose anymore. Dear Grace 105, the Telepathy Tapes movie idea continues. The end of everything, the movie, the podcast, and Grace. So Grace is not your real name. I refuse to say it after this episode. Grace is not your real name. In the next series, I will use your real name. Forget where we left off in the other story, but we'll just keep going. Stalking. Cat Yu enters her family house. She's 29 and lives at home by choice. Her mother's making dinner for Cat Yu and her dad who's due home any minute. Cat Yu, Mom, we need to talk. Mom, are you pregnant? Cat Yu, not funny, Mom. Mom, what's up? Cat Yu, I'm not pregnant, but I found someone I'd like to get me pregnant. Mom, hello? Cat Yu, sorry, I found the man in my dreams. Mom, oh? Cat Yu, yes, oh. Mom, at the cafe? Cat Yu, yes. Mom, and you don't know how? Cat Yu, I don't. Mom, so we are back to India then? Cat Yu, no, that was different. Mom, was it? Cat Yu, let me finish, Mom. Yes, it's different. Mom, okay. Cat Yu, in India my dreams were not this clear, and yes, the dreams have come back, and yes, I didn't tell you were Dad. Mom, what's the difference? Cat Yu, I'm not sure. They're clear visually, but the accuracy is outstanding. Mom, accuracy? Cat Yu, I can predict which days he'll come into the store. I can tell you what time of day, and probably what he's wearing up to 90% efficiency. Mum, how often does he come in? Cat Yu, 5 times a week. Sometimes every day and other times not for a week. Mum. So you're keeping a journal again? Cat Yu, not written this time. Cat Yu and her mom exchange a look of distrust. Mum, understood. Cat Yu, no, not for that reason. I just don't need to anymore. My memory is fine. Mum, for now. Cat Yu, it's been fine for years. Mum, and how long has he been coming in? What's his name? Cat Yu, Dave. Mum, so white? Cat Yu, yes, very. Probably a direct descendant of Hitler. Mum, save the sarcasm for your books, please. Cat Yu, I'm not ready. Mum, okay, how long? Cat Yu, about a year. Mum slowly bounces her head in thought. Mum, and your plan? Cat Yu, I don't have one. And? Mum, and? Cat Yu, he's older. Mum, like your brother or like your dad? Cat Yu pauses. Mum, don't say grandfather, please. Cat Yu, no, he's Dad's age, approximately. Mom, how do you know? Cat U, I read it on his profile. Mom, dating profile? Cat U, no, Twitter. Mom, I'm confused. Cat U, he's been coming into the store for about a year. He comes in to write, orders the same coffee every time, drinks it, goes to the bathroom, orders a refill, and then continues to write. He comes in at different times of the day, but the routine is the same. The dream started the first day I saw him. I didn't tell you because, well, you know why. But I did tell Sharon at work, and she helped me find out more about him. She got his Twitter name. Mom, so you're talking to him on Twitter? Cat U, no. Cat U, I only found out his handle today. I've only looked at his profile page, nothing more. Mom, yet. Cat U, I'm talking to you about it first. I didn't have to. Mom, I know, thank you. Cat U, I kept track of my dreams. I know my accuracy. And no, I'm not going to write it down. That proves nothing. Either you and Dad believe me or you don't. Dad enters the room. Dad, believe about? Mom, Cat's in love. Cat U, I never said I was in love. Only that I'm back in a situation I can't explain. Dad, dreams? Cat U, yes. Mom, tell him the rest. Nothing more to tell. I'm having dreams about a customer I don't know. I'm having dreams about a customer I don't know why or what it means. Dad, like before? Cat U, no. He's not attracted to me in the dreams. He does nothing more than what he does in real life. Dad, but? Cat U, but it means something, no? Mom, we've been through this. We don't know. Cat U, others believe there's a reason for our connection. Dad, how could they help you? Cat U, no. Mom, so what now? Cat U, I write. Dad, are you sure? Cat U, you asked me to tell you when I'm writing again. I'm writing again. Fair enough. Dad, yes. Mom, okay. Cat U hugs her parents and returns to her room. She takes her old MacBook out of the closet and searches for the power cord. At the kitchen table, Mom and Dad discuss their daughter. Mom, what can we do? Dad, Mom, what do we do? Dad, what can we do? Mom, watch her. Dad, we've been doing that since she's born. Mom, we can call a doctor. Dad leaves the kitchen and walks by Cat U's door. Music is playing loudly. Dad returns. Dad, we promised we wouldn't talk to her behind her back, and I know she doesn't hold us to that, but she's smarter than any psychiatrist. We know that, and more importantly, she knows it. That's why none of them can understand her logic or her past. Mom, she's not smarter than all of them. Dad, find one who understands then. How are you going to do that for her? Go and pretend to be a psychiatrist and pretend to be her? Go pretend to a psychiatrist that you're her. Sorry, Grace, I wasn't going to add to this, but... Mom, no, but... Dad, but nothing. You can argue psychology with her. Can anyone we know, doctor or otherwise? Can you argue psychology with her? Can anyone we know, doctor or otherwise? Do you know any books she's read? Mom, I haven't forgotten how she spends her nights. Dad, nor have I. And we both want her to be with someone, yes? Mom, of course, if she wants. Dad, she wrote 5 youth romance novels. I think she's wanting. I say we help her this time. None of the experts helped her last time. Agreed? Mom, they tried. Dad, yes, and could any of them understand her logic? Any? Mom, none. Mom, until the books were published. Dad, exactly. And then they changed all their expert opinions. Mom, now you're something like her. Dad, she was right. Mom, she was. Dad, so this time let's support her plan. What's the worst that can happen? Dad, and don't say it. Mom crying. I have to. I won't visit my daughter in a psych ward ever again. I can't. Dad, holding Mom. Me too. That's why we need to trust her this time. Mom, I trust her. I have no idea who this man is. Dad, what's his name? Mom, Dave. Dad, Dave what? Mom, I don't know. Dad, is Cat you? Mom, I don't know. Mom and Dad knock at Cat U's door and waits. And wait. No answer. They knock again. Nothing. Mom texts Cat. Can we talk to you? Cat opens the door. Cat U, sorry I didn't hear. Mom, no problem. We just wanted to tell you that will help. No problem. We just want to tell you that we'll help you any way you like in this process. Cat U, process? Dad, we're not going to find the right word, Cat, but we'll help you any way you like, if you like. Mom, no questions asked. Cat U, none? Dad, only one. What's Dave's last name? Displaying his last name, Cat U shows her parents a screen capture of Dave's Starbucks profile. Cat U, but online he uses a different name, Lewis. Mom, why? Cat U, I just started reading his past tweets. He likes comedy, so I guess it has something to do with Jerry Lewis. Cat U teasing. You two remember him, yes? Dad, funny, but yes, we remember. And Dave's age? Cat U, probably. Oh, and Dave's dad, funny, but yes, we remember. And Dave's my age? Cat U, probably. He can put whatever he wants into the app, so it's not guaranteed. But he put the same age on his Twitter profile, so I believe he's not lying. Mom, what else do you know? Cat U, not much. Let me analyze his account for a while longer, and maybe I can figure out who he is. Dad, okay, we'll talk tomorrow. Come up with a list. Let us help, please. Don't keep it a secret, please. Cat U, I won't, Dad. Mom, thanks. Cat U, good night. The next day, David wakes up, looks at the bottle on his desk, but ignores it. David, Barb? David, Barb? Barb, yes, I'm here. David, without the weed? How can I be sure? Barb, David, you know I can't prove anything. We go over this daily. David, I understand. Cat U watches Dave's facial expressions. Cat U talks with her parents? Cat U stalks with her parents. Parents reveal her secret, except the man of her dreams to show up. Parents reveal her secret, expected the man of her dreams to show up at her launch party. The next day, David wakes up, reaches for the bottle, takes 10, returns to sleep. An hour later. David, Barb. Barb, good morning. David, hi. I think I have a concept for the house jokes. Barb, what? David, gaslighting. I've been basically gaslighting them to be the roommates I want, whether they want it or not. Barb, in a way. David, sure. I'm not trying to fuck them, but I do want them to adjust their behavior for me. Barb, because you're artistic? David, because it's a pain in the ass, otherwise I can't. Because it's a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass otherwise, and I can't afford to move somewhere else. Or anywhere else. And David, and because I have some autistic behaviors but everyone does. Barb, not me. David, everyone who is alive falls somewhere in the spectrum. Is that better, Barb? Barb, better, Barb, baby. 3 B's, David. David, I almost dropped the ass wipe in the toilet bowl again last night. Barb, was it full or empty? David, full to number 2. Barb, shit. David, exactly. I caught it in time, but that would have been a bitch to clean up. Can't flush or roll. Barb, be careful. Be more careful next time. David, thanks for the logical advice. Barb, grumpy. David, no more than usual. Barb, plan for the day? David, not sure. Barb, may I make a suggestion? David, are you allowed to? Barb, yes. David, please. Barb. Train station. David has an interaction with security at the New West station. An older lady is forced to urinate on a bench, and there are no fucking washrooms. Barb, do you feel better? David, I feel awake. Barb, you're ready for a fight. David, I'm not ready for bullshit. And yes, I have to raise my voice or stand in front of the guards like that. But I did it. And it felt good, and I'll do it again. Barb, things you should have said? David, if you want to call the cops on everyone urinating at the shops in New West, they might as well just set up their office there. She's already embarrassed, and I'll leave her alone. Don't piss me off, motherfucker. I'm one mean son of a bitch. Barb, David, yes. Barb, can I say something? David, go ahead. Barb, you already know what I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. Thank you for protecting a stranger as aggressively as you would your wife. David, you're welcome. Barb, I love you, David. David, I love you too, and thanks for not stepping in. Barb, I'm a silent observer, remember? David, we don't know what we are. Maybe we are the creator of the Matrix. Barb, maybe I am the Matrix. David, no thanks. Barb, why then no possibility of sex? You don't think the creator of the Matrix could help slip into a VR suit and fuck you up? David, fuck me up? Barb, how long have we talked for, David? David, a year or so? Barb, and how many times have I thrown myself at you? David, 0, but you have nothing to throw. Barb, I could place pornographic thoughts into your mind if I wanted to, but what good does that do me or you? David, save me watching porn. Barb, you still watch porn? You'd probably ask me to comment on it. Commentate? I'll commentate on it. David, you can do that? Barb, David, focus. Thank you for earlier. David, I heard. Our connection is fine. Barb, no more pretending you can't hear me. David waits. Barb, how about the dual autism jokes? David, low blow. Barb, I learned from the best. David, thank you. For once you recognize my greatness. Barb, absolutely, Captain. David, I told you I'm not the captain. I'm Data, and you are Commander Cleavage. Barb, what if I wake up and I'm young, hot and horny, but flat? Deal breaker? David, fake it for the outfit. I don't know any handfuls to get lost in. Just the fantasy. Barb, what if I'm a dude? David, Barb, why do you ruin it? Barb, maybe you're gay, David. David, maybe you are, and then pretending. Never mind, we've done this one before. Barb, I hope I'm dead, David. David, why? Barb, then maybe one day this will stop, and I can move on, and you can move forward. David, what if this is just the beginning? Barb, leading to what, where, and how, who, why? David, you sure you're not a reporter from the 50s? Barb, I'm sure. I'll move forward and I'm ready with or without you. Barb, but. David, but I prefer to solve for X. Barb, fair enough. Want to watch a movie, or podcast, or write, or... David, solve for X, Barb. Barb, or play with yourself. David, while you watch? Barb, you know it doesn't work that way. It's the Rick and Morty paradox. David, which is? Barb, the moment you're naked, I can't communicate with you. David, but that's not true. We talk in the shower all the time. Barb, I understand, but in theory it makes sense. David, our entire relationship is in theory. Barb, relationship? David, friendship? Barb, friends until I figure out if I have a body of some sort. David, fair enough. Barb, which means we need to talk about Cat U. When are you going back to see her? David, I will go back there to write as soon as I feel I have the energy to walk across the bridge. Barb, still too tired? David, I can make it there by bus, but I think I should be able to walk a mile or two without needing a nap. Barb, you are an old man. David, I don't feel old, and yes, but at least I feel. Barb, and I don't have any emotions like that, David. You can't hurt my feelings directly by reminding me I am nothing but a voice in your head. David, are you sure? You don't sense sadness, tears? Barb, I sense when you're sad or cry, but I'm not sure I'm experiencing your emotions or my emotions through you, if that makes sense. David, nothing makes sense. Nothing. Except you, Barb. I think you make sense, or you will. You have to admit it's a long way from the psych ward. Barb, do you want to go there today, David? Worry about it? David, no. I think we should go. No, I think we should work on the dual autistic choke angle. See if anything develops. Barb, what's the premise? David, both my wife and I are autistic, but different things bother us. So combined, we are a little fucked up. Barb, who's your wife? Cat you? David, or you, if you're real. Barb, you'll only do honest jokes, correct? About real life? So how would you explain me then? Autistic voice in your head? Pretending to be your wife? David, no, that's too much. Either I'll have to pretend to be married, which yes, is hacky, or go another route and have you as an autistic psycho wife. Barb, do you think I'm autistic? And you basically said what I did, but added psycho. David, no, you're right. I don't need anything more than a voice in my head who thinks she's my wife, which is what you believe, correct? Barb, I don't think I'm your wife, but yes, obviously I'm a voice in your head. David, I wish this was obvious. Imagine how simple that would make all of this. Barb, I do. What if I'm a genie in a bottle? Remember that show, yes, David? David, no, that was before I liked blondes. Barb, don't try and lie to me, David. I know your type, to a T, or to a double T. David, what's a double T? Barb, you know. I thought you could read my mind. David, sometimes. Double T? Barb, totally transparent. David, a ghost? Barb, some flavor exotic and unable to lie to you. David, true. But I wouldn't turn down a hot blonde right about now, though. Barb, nor would I stop you. David, but you won't Cyrano for me? Barb, I'm not sure I can. The moment you're around a pretty girl, you forget about me instantly. David, not instantly. Barb, David, we've been in long discussions on the bench when some hottie prances in front of you in leggings and you forget about me and the conversation. It's like you black out. David, it's like when you see a baby and start telling me about all the children you want, if possible. Barb, true. But I'm talking to you. When you see pretty, I don't exist until she's out of your eyesight. David, it's not that bad. Barb, depends on the day of the week. David, depends stroke. Barb, I don't have one now, do you? David, do you? Sounds like Dodo. Barb, you're reaching. David, you're sweet. Barb, thank you, David. I think you'll make a sweet husband someday. Maybe for Cat you. David, or maybe you? Barb, I love you, David. But I think we have to come to a conclusion it's unlikely I'm in a coma. David, I rather think anything's possible. We should make a list. David. Number 1, David is nuts. Number 2, David is crazy. Number 3, David is schizophrenic and doesn't know how to spell it. Barb. Barb is a figment of David's imagination. Barb is in a coma. Barb is dead. Barb is an alien controlling Dave's mind. David, oh, I like number 4. Barb, why? David, because then I can hack your mind and take control of the alien overload technology. Barb, sci-fi movie thought tonight, David? David, 5. Barb is God. Barb, a useless God then, as it can only talk to you, unless you are a prophet. David, definitely not. I guess I was going to have a scene about Tony questions. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what Barb Performs is, and I have no idea why he says the end. But I guess that is... I don't know. Obviously not a professional movie outline writer, and I don't give a fuck anymore. The end. Cat U whispers into David's ear, I'm Barb. End of story. Actually, I think that needs to be somewhere else, but it doesn't matter. There you go. Possible titles, Your Mind or Mine. A modern love story about an arranged marriage. The catch, the marriage is arranged by both parties, not their parents. Scene, location, the park at sunset. David, an incredibly handsome middle-aged man, sits beside his wife, Barb, on the park bench. They stare aimlessly, consuming the activities within their viewpoint. The last 30 minutes of the golden hour lights the park. To protect her eyes, Barb wears the type of sunglasses that blind people normally use. She's not blind, only highly sensitive to sunlight, a condition she suffered from all her life. David wears blue jeans and a t-shirt, contrasting Barb's more conservative slacks, blouse, and a sweater. Everyone walking by notices the couple. Barb is half Dave's age, and it's obvious she's out of his league. Barb and David hold hands continually on the bench. From a distance, they might pass for a couple of friends or even a father-daughter, but as others walk directly in front of them, it's clear they are together. Why is anyone's guess? Barb blushes. She knows what they are thinking. What's she doing with that old guy? He must be rich. David, you'll get used to it. Barb, used to what? David, the looks. Barb, I didn't notice. David, lie. Why did you blush? Barb, ignoring the statement. I'm not embarrassed to be with you. Maybe this is movie number 2, Grace. I'm missing something here, but I'll keep reading. David, I never said you were. You blushed. You're embarrassed about something. Barb, I'm not embarrassed. I'm tired of having the same how did we two meet conversation. David, we knew it could happen. Barb, I know. David, we agreed on the story. Barb, I know. David, we could go back to my preferred story. Barb, I'm not going to pretend to be a mail order bride from India who can't speak English. Like you, I enjoy talking to people. I just can't do the preamble anymore. David, now you see why I'm mute sometimes. It's easier with all the aspects of life, not only the interested people who walk by. Barb, I'm not going to pretend to be mute, pretend to be anything. You do as you please. David, we can still do t-shirts. Yes, I'm rich. Pretty much answers their question. Barb, but you're not rich, I am. David, your family is. Barb, because of me. David, fine. Lend me some money for a new camera. Barb, make some cash with your existing cameras. David, how until I can walk normally? I'm at your mercy. Barb, spare me the dramatics. I'm the better actor. David, not actress. Barb, shut up. David, I love you too. Barb, please shut up. David, fine, I'll tell you the next person to ask the real story about how you seduced me with your mind games. Gaslit me to the moon and back. Fed me antipsychotic medication, how you kept me tied to a bed against my will. How I tried to escape from your prison cell. How you brainwashed me. How everything. I'll tell them the whole fucking truth. Barb, settle down, Andres. David, did I tell a lie just now? Barb, it wasn't a prison cell, it was a safe room on a psych ward. You were never tied to the bed or restrained in a bed. I was restrained on the way to the room. Barb stops him. Wait, I'll get there. I'm not done with your first inaccurate and misleading statement. Dave nods for Barb to continue. Barb, I never seduced you with mind games because you were not the person you are now. In fact, there was no physical seduction by me at all. Correct? David, fair enough. Barb, fair enough or correct? David, correct. You never flirted with me. Barb, and why is that? What is the other part you leave out of your version? David, like a child, because you were my hot psychiatric nurse who always acted professionally. Barb, I wore a mask, dark sunglasses, and kept my hair in a ponytail. How's that hot? David begins. Well, Barb realizes her mistake. Never mind, I forgot who I'm talking to. You probably think this sweater is hot. David, it's hot that you knit it yourself, but no, it looks like an old lady sweater to me. How old are you again? Do your friends also knit that shit that belongs in the 30s? Barb, are you done? David, are you done? Barb, in fact, no. Back to your original stupid story. I administered antipsychotic medication. I didn't feed it to you. Gaslighting is an unclear word, and you use it to annoy me. You didn't try and escape from my prison cell. You pulled the fire alarm on the psych ward, hoping to create some confusion. Barb waits, hoping for confirmation from David. He's watching teenagers play volleyball, pretending to ignore her like a child. If anyone was brainwashed, it was me. It was me by you, or the person I thought you were on the ward that night. Barb. And finally, yes, you were escorted by 5 security guards to the quiet room, but you were never restrained the entire time at the hospital, no matter what you remember. Do I need to? David cuts her off before she can say, show you the medical records? That wasn't a quiet room, it was a fucking prison cell. In his head, David closes his eyes and tries to forget the time in the quiet room. In her head, Barb plays back the CCTV footage of David locked in the room before he was David. Before he was the David she knows now, when he was Dave Doe, not Dave Smith, the man with the most boring, plain name possible. Barb knows if David could read her thoughts right now, he'd say, Barb isn't exactly unique, exciting, or interesting. Sounds like someone with no imagination from 1905 would name their child, and David would probably take another dig at her sweaters. Barb and David begin to cry silently and remain motionless for 2 minutes, or as long as the actors can maintain. David, can you move to the other benches? Barb helps David stand. He's hunched over, the only way he can walk, due to a temporary back condition. On the other side of the park, Barb's parents, who's been sitting on a different bench, watching the couple get up and walk toward Barb and David. They meet in the middle, say hi, and proceed to swap benches. Scene, the park continues. As the sun drops below the horizon, Barb removes her protective glasses. Across an open field, her parents now watch them and the entire park, like a couple of security guards. David, why didn't you learn how to drive? Barb, you know the answer. David, maybe you should have tried harder. Use that massive brain of yours to find a solution. Barb, with her highest level of sarcasm. A solution to sunlight? You want me to solve sunlight? David, I don't like having an escort. Barb, they're not our escorts. They drove us because you can't drive, and I chose not to endanger other people's lives by trying to drive blinded by the light. Would you like me to ask them to leave until you have your fill of fresh air? Should I pretend like they don't exist, even though we live in their home rent-free? In the master bedroom of their own house, no less, David. Maybe we should throw them out. Their entire house would be alone. Is that what you'd like? David, the master bedroom is because of your eyes. Barb, because you are up all night pacing back and forth trying to write a novel greater than Atlas Shrugged, a feat you know to be impossible. Why do you even try? David, all right, Miss Rand, you settle down now. David, I agree. If it wasn't for your parents, we wouldn't be together. I have no idea what would have happened to me or you. Barb and David watch the kids in the playground. Every time a child slips or falls, Barb flinches, tries to reach out and save the child from 50 feet away. The park begins to empty. The volleyball players and parents with their children leave, and only a few teenagers sitting on the picnic tables remain. David surveys the park. The coast is clear. Barb, not yet. David, kiss me. Barb, not yet. David, please. Barb slowly closes her eyes. Not yet. David, they're back. Barb, who? David, the guy walking his pregnant wife. Barb, he's not walking her. They're enjoying the park together. David, nope. He's keeping her thin for a faster recovery time. He's definitely a pervert. Barb, they're Muslim, David. David, so Muslims can't be perverts? Barb, ever think they're doing it for her health, or because the grass feels good on her feet, or any other possible reason? David, that burqa thing's kinda hot. That's basically what you did to me in the psych ward. Hide your face. Show off your body in the hospital scrubs. We both know you wear a size too small, so they fit the contours of your body. Don't deny it. You seduced me. Barb, you're so full of shit. David, there's dog shit in that field. She shouldn't walk barefoot. Barb, okay. David, is there swing available? Barb, not yet. David, how many times have we sat on this bench? Barb, maybe 30. David, how many times have you sat on this bench before or after me? You know what? When you were stalking me. Barb, I wasn't stalking. I was investigating you. By stalking me. By learning your evil habits. David, and how does that help your investigation? Barb, puts me in your frame of mind. David, fine. Two brothers play, set up a mini soccer field. David, what if I'd called the police? Barb, for what? I didn't do anything illegal. I can follow anyone I like. It's a free country. If you hadn't noticed, you called them or approached me. And if you had noticed, you could have called them or approached me. You didn't notice. David, I had other things in my mind, and I didn't expect someone like you to be interested in an old man like me. Barb, ageist. David, fair enough. David, although to be fair, make a good scene in our life movie where I go into the RCMP and complain about a hot young female following me around for no particular reason. Barb, how do you know I'd sit on these benches before or after you? David, I didn't. I guessed. I assumed if someone was following me, which it felt like, and if they were interested in me in a romantic fashion, which it felt like, and they were nuts and believed in panpsychism, they might try and read me through the bench, or some shit like that. Or send me messages. Barb, through my butt? David, yes. Each fart you let out on these benches probably left some sort of message for me when I sat down. Barb, David, you know I don't fart on these benches. David, Barb, I don't. I should have set up a hidden tape recorder under the bench, and I could have heard for myself. Plus the conversations with your mom on these benches. I forgot about that. I like to blame the leader, not their disciples. Barb, disciples? David, well, you convinced me to join in your illegal activities. Sorry, not illegal. Questionable activities, yes? Barb, I did, but I never claimed I was divine. No disciples, just loving, trusting parents who took a chance on their crazy daughter, who compared to the chance on you is nothing. David, are you saying I'm nuts? Barb, your entire career is based on you being nuts. David, my career? I have no career. Only one of us is a published writer, and it's not me. I have no career. I have no opportunity. Barb, relax. David, unable to turn around and check for himself. Is the swing free? Barb, almost. One teenager is in the playground. David, teenagers don't give a shit what we do. Let's go. Barb, not yet. David, it's funny how close you are to a teenager, isn't it, Barb? Barb, hilarious. Never gets old. Unlike you. David, I'm going to reverse age myself just for you, Barb. I'll do whatever it takes to look somewhere near your age and beauty. Just name it. I'll do it for you. Barb, fix your back and then we'll worry about it. David, it's close. Let's go. I can't wait any longer. Barb helps David up and walks him over to a large circular swing the kids play on. Painfully, David slowly lies on the platform with Barb's assistance. David, thank you. Barb, ready. David, yep. Barb removes an extremely large blunt and torch lighter. She lights and passes the blunt to David. Across the field, Barb's parents watch as a large cloud of smoke rises from the playground. Puff after puff, David sends the smoke straight up while Barb swings him back and forth. David is lost in the smoke, the swing, the moment. Barb, better? David, it's working. Barb, I still say yoga would have been faster and easier. David, maybe, but it's boring and you have to admit weed and swing is working. Barb, I don't have to admit anything, but yes, something is working. They're almost healed, but. David, but what? Barb, no buts. It doesn't matter. How much longer? David, I've got another 10 minutes in me. Barb texts her mom, 10 minutes. Barb's mom returns to the vehicle while her dad slowly walks over to the playground to help Barb extract David from the swing. The clouds of smoke continue to rise. I just realized, Grace, that this really shouldn't be Barb anymore. This should be Cat U, but fuck it, I don't give a shit anymore. Like I say, I'm done. Barb, are you purposely trying to make smoke signals? Are you trying to attract attention to the police? David, it's legal. Barb, not in a children's park. David, whatever. Let them find me. I don't give a shit. Barb, because I'm the one who'll be playing? David, no, I'll pay if they catch me. I'll go collect bottles or something. Barb, sure. David, you know it's temporary. I will eventually outright you. Barb, I'm sure you will. Maybe. David, maybe. Barb, nothing is written in stone, David. Yes, your first story will outsell my current novels, but you forget. You only tell half our story. I own the other half. David, I understand. It's in your best interest to let me publish first, yes? Barb, we decided it's in our best interest for you to go first, yes? David, agreed. Don't put air quotes around your novels. You and I both know they are much more than a youth series. And if anyone, or should I say when someone makes the link between your series and my story, then what? Barb, then you'll be happy I published the series under a fake name, untraceable to me. David, well, not untraceable, but difficult, yes. You did an excellent job of hiding your identity and funneling all of profits to your parents. Barb, thank you. David, but we will get caught one day. Barb, I know. David, I'm done. Barb, good. Dad's here. Barb and Dad help David out of the swing. His pain has subsided, but he's dizzy from the swing and needs assistance. They take him to the vehicle, stretch him on the back seat, feet up on Barb. They drive back to the parents' house, built on Barb's novel money. Scene location, a comedy club. Time, 5 years later. Barb and Dave sit in the back of a comedy club. The crowd is vibrant. The comedians are killing. Dave is up next. Dave stares into Barb's eyes as she combs his hair forward, removing any curl or wave from his hair, giving him a bowl cut effect. He looks like an idiot. He's ready. Dave's name is called, but he waits a second. His eyes are still locked with Barb, like he needs her permission to leave, to work, to perform. She blinks, granting permission, and they both get up, Dave onto the stage and Barb out the back door of the club into the alley, where she spends all of Dave's performances. The only part she hears is, "Hi, I'm Dave. I'm a born-again autistic." Barb lights a spliff. She hears laughter through the door. Barb lights a spliff. She hears laughter through the door and moves down the alley until only city sounds remain. She's alone in an alley at night. This is her world. Dave is on stage, his world. When he's done, Dave meets Barb in the alley. They hold hands and slowly walk to a hotel room down the block, beginning their day their way. David, I have 2 eyes. I think I realized, Grace, that this is just, all these are just random scenes now that I wrote, not really in order. Scene in the hospital too. Or it could be in order, I have no fucking idea, but... Barb reviews the CCTV footage of Dave in the ER. She notes in her mind only that Dave is switching from lotus pose to Sakhasana? I have no idea how to pronounce that, under the sheet. She thinks he's meditating, not on amphetamines, She thinks he's meditating, not on an amphetamine-induced catatonic state. However, she knows to keep this observation to herself. She's a respected nurse, but only because she keeps her mouth shut around the doctors. She plays the game, but for her purpose, not theirs. Dave is the new purpose. Dave is the... what the fuck? Dave is her new purpose, the clue she's been searching for, the answer to her constant dream. Bob returns to the ward. Dave checks Dave's history of blood pressure and pulse throughout the day and heads to his room. Dave appears to be asleep. Barb calls out his name to wake him, but he doesn't budge. She takes his blood pressure and pulse, both normal. The machine records the results. Barb adds no additional notes. Barb is conscious of all her actions. When she entered the room, how long she's been there, when it would seem suspicious if she has nothing to report. Nobody is specifically watching her other than the cameras in the hallway, but she's cautious and doesn't know why. All the rooms in the ward are single occupancy with private bathroom. There are no direct cameras in the room, but the hall camera does catch anything bedside. Wary but not feeling watched, Barb opens the wardrobe on the other side of the room and inspects Dave's clothes. Dirty old jeans with a hole in the side of the seam, a t-shirt that says Dad's favorite things, and nothing else. No shoes, no underwear, no socks. Everything typical for a meth head. Nothing special. On a hunch, Barb opens the bathroom door. Maybe he's left something in there. Whatever she's looking for, she'll know it when she sees it. She forgets the bathroom light is automatic and is now shining directly on Dave. She freezes, expecting him to open his eyes. He does not. Barb inspects the washroom. It contains nothing, not even a toothbrush. Her hunch is wrong. Before closing the bathroom door, she walks over to Dave and once again calls out, "Mr. Doe, Mr. Doe, Mr. Doe." Dave breathes but doesn't move. Barb stares at Dave's face. It's tired, sad, lonely. She forgets about the camera, reaches over, and gently opens an eyelid to reveal his right eye. She's shocked, stunned, paralyzed with fear, and leaves the room. Master bedroom continues. Barb and her something, probably parents, eat dinner while David plays video games in their room. Mom, how's he doing? Barb, fine, still silly. Mom, pain. Barb, how would I know? If I don't catch him wincing, he doesn't tell me. Mom, you sure he can fix himself without a doctor? Barb, I have to trust him at this point. He hasn't lied to me. Mom, I understand. Dad, how are you? Barb, the usual. Dad, you're starting to talk to me like him now, when you want to. Barb, that's inevitable. He talks like me when he wants to. Dad, we don't see that part of him too much. Barb, I know. He's saving it for the stage. Once I get him out of the room, it'll be fine. He'll be fine. We'll all be fine. Sorry. Mom, why? Barb, that sounded more like a wish than a probability. Mom, I'm confused. Your dad's words sound like you wish, or your words sound like I wish. Barb, my words, like I'm convincing myself. Mom, you convinced yourself about David the first day you saw him. Barb, the second I saw his eyes. Mom, I understand. Dad, can I ask you a question? Barb, of course. Dad, do you think he's told you everything? Barb, what do you mean? Dad, I'm not suggesting he's hiding a secret. I'm wondering how sure you can be that he's recovered his memory from the hospital. Barb, I can't, and I don't care at this point. He's told me enough. I have no right to ask. Mom, you're his wife. You always have a right. Barb, technically, sure. According to society, sure. According to logic, sure. But considering how I stalked him, how we all stalked him, I think I lose a bit of that right. Dad, you didn't force us. Barb, but I convinced you. I told you the story you needed to hear to help me. I manipulated you because I know both of you. I know what you needed to hear to help me. I mentally forced you. Mom. We know you well enough to know this, Barb. You've either purposely or accidentally manipulated us your entire life. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock. It's not a manipulation. Look at this house. You bought this house. Barb. Barb, I don't give a shit about this house. Dad, I know. But it all worked out. You were right about who he is. You're safe. He's safe. We're safe. It's all good. One more step. Barb, babies? Mom, no, not babies. That's your obsession, no matter how much you try. I'll push that back onto us. Barb, you like grandkids a lot. Dad, we like all kids a lot. Barb. David not only thinks we'll have twins, he's sure there will be a boy and a girl. And androgynous from the head up. Head up? Neck up. Identically head twins is what he wants to call them. Identical head twins is what he wants to call them. Tell you, Grace, I definitely do not remember writing that, because that's pretty fucking funny. And I would have remembered it. Mom, tentatively. And you think? Barb, I think he's nuts, but I don't care. Mom, you don't have to get pregnant right away. You could let us back heal. Barb, he insists, regardless of the pain, and he knows when I'm ovulating. I can't hide it. I swear he can smell my hormones. Dad, any more thoughts about India? Barb, he wants to go. I don't think we're ready. He needs to finish writing his book before we go. Dad, he thinks he'll be able to write and travel? Barb, no, he'll be able to write and travel, but he can't travel before he writes out his past, if that makes sense. Dad, it does. Is he writing now? Barb, probably playing video games. But I did hear him last night in the tub dictating, so he's doing something. That could just be him practicing stand-up. Mom, I guess you can't ask him? Barb, not really. Barb, not really. He forgave me once. Twice would be a stretch. Mom, well, we know it's about how much he loves you. What more really matters? He waited for you. So I guess now you wait for him. Barb, I guess. Barb fills a bowl of rice and dribbles some soy sauce over the top. She gets up to deliver the food. Barb, good night. Mom and Dad, good night. Barb returns to her bedroom, now their bedroom, but still decorated by a 29-year-old woman. David doesn't care about the bedroom or the house. Barb, here you go. David, thanks. How are your folks? Barb, fine. Wondering about your back. I told them that you're lying to me about the pain. That it's probably getting better. David, you know I can't lie to you, but nice try. Are you going to write more, or is it time to make a baby? Barb, standing up and removing your clothes after first checking to ensure the door was locked. Guess. Time, 1 minute later. David, was it everything you imagined? Barb, as she sits in the recliner upside down with her legs in the air. Wonderful. David, I still say the turkey baster is the way to go until I heal my back. Barb, no thanks. David, it's probably more enjoyable than what we just did. Barb, maybe, but I'm not telling my children, or my twins if you get your wish, that they came out of a turkey baster. David, my children? Barb, our children, David. It's a figure of speech. Do you know what that is? David, good. Keep up that sarcasm. They'll make delicious babies. But, Barb, but what? David, get ready for my back heels, and I can add another 59 minutes to my baby maker skills. Barb, if you say so. David, don't believe me? You know I can't lie to you. Barb, it's not a lie, it's a prediction. You can predict all you like. It can fail all it likes. So, in relativity, you have no way of knowing how long you'll last with a good back because we've only made love once with a good back. And David, yes, I was there, I remember, thanks. Barb, so memory's okay? David, bite me. Barb, I'm trying. David, why did you refuse to have sex with me before our wedding night? Barb. David, I'm naked in a chair with my legs in the air. David throws a blanket over Barb's body. Barb, thanks, not my point. But I didn't refuse anything before we got married, because you were too shy to touch me before we got married. David, shy? Barb, maximum sarcasm. Sorry, I forgot, my apologies. Respectful. David, better. Barb, honorable? David, I like that. Barb, a big fat lazy autistic jerk? David, accurate. Let's stick with respectful. Barb, fine. Barb, but let's be real clear, mister. The wedding, the respectfulness, the usual circumstances surrounding the unusual circumstances surrounding nearly every aspect of a relationship is all you. All your ideas. David, except the stalking. Barb, yes, David, except the stalking. David, did I ever tell you how hot that was when I found out? Barb, you told me 10 minutes ago when your baby maker exploded and you started crying. David, you know those were tears of joy. Barb, sorry. Too far? David, never. I love you. Barb, I love you too. David, and please call the baby maker little Jesus, like I asked you to. Barb, you only get to use the rise from the dead jokes once, David. Are you sure? You only get to use the rise from the dead joke once, David. Are you sure? David, isn't it a miracle every time he gets excited? At my age, it shouldn't be possible anymore. Barb, I like to think a miracle saves a life or something. And you are not that old. David, make a life save a life? I'm older than your dad, in case you forgot. Barb, we could wait another month, you know. And I didn't forget your fancy years. You are older than my mom, too, don't forget. David, your dad is the funnier joke, though. David, we talked about this for over a year. We both wake up dreaming about children and traveling. The time is now. My back can handle a minute or two of pain. I'll take all the physical pain, I don't care. The mental pain is over. The part I couldn't stand. The part that almost put me back in your psych ward. Barb, it wasn't mine. David, it was to me. Barb, okay. David, do we need to go over this again? Barb, if you're okay with physical pain, maybe we do. David, are you breaking out the psych nurse credentials on me? You know where this will go. Barb, I do. David, can you at least put some clothes on and get out of that chair so I can start being mad at you? Barb, not yet. David, is that your new saying, not yet? You really think that works on my personality? Like it's some sort of catch-all to calm me down and rethink my position? Barb, is it working? David, maybe. I don't know, because I'm mad now. Mad that you may be manipulating my own perspective on the psychology industry. Barb, profession. Dave, nice try, industry. David, but fine, not yet. I've already forgotten your attempted psychobabble. Barb, good. You see it doesn't work. David, it distracted me. It didn't cure me. Barb, now in her pajamas, walks over to the bed. Ready? David prepares for her entrance over to the mattress by stabilizing himself against the wall. Barb slips in and calls up to David, where he releases his left arm around her. Barb, movie or kill Tony? David, you pick. Barb, kill Tony it is. David, and I haven't forgotten. Barb, I know. David, pen please. Barb hands David a vape pen. Although the room is air temperature controlled and David can smoke a blunt Although the room is air and temperature controlled and David could smoke a blunt, an earlier unfortunate accident burnt a hole in the waterbed and flooded part of the house. Now Barb controls the lighter. Scene, kitchen table. Barb's parents and grandparents gather around the table to discuss Barb and the future. A photo album of her life is passed around the table as they plan their approach. They discuss her past, only speaking her made-up language till 5, her light sensitivity, her high school experience, her time in India and yoga, her return, education and job, her living situation. Scene 7-Eleven. Sunrise illuminates the 7-Eleven sign. The sign's light flickers off. Focus shifts to the background as a single snow-capped mountain is visible. Dave, an incredibly handsome, middle-aged man, sits in front of the store cross-legged, staring into the sun. The store employees ask Dave to leave. He cannot or does not interact with their request. They call 911. Police and paramedics are dispatched to the scene. 2 officers, male and female, arrive first. The police receive no response from Dave. The male officer watches him while the female interviews the staff. Staff confirms he's a regular customer. They know his first name is Dave, but he has never done this before. He normally just buys a coffee and leaves. Dispatch informs the officers the paramedics will be delayed and are instructed to transport Dave to the hospital. The officers comply. Dave is placed in handcuffs and carried to the car. While handcuffed, his eyes are closed. In the ER, the officers tell Dave's story to a nurse while he sits on the hospital bed, still cross-legged, well medicated but not handcuffed. Various doctors and nurses try to interact with Dave throughout the day. He ignores them all, but eventually lies on his back, stares at the ceiling, instead of sitting cross-legged. Dave is eventually labeled catatonic and is sent to the psych ward. Scene, Dave wakes up in the hospital. When Dave wakes up and looks at his wristband and reads Dave Doe, his first thought is, who is Dave Doe? For 6 days, Dave is non-communicative. He sleeps at night, is forced awake for meals to shower, spends the rest of the day sleeping or sitting in a chair, staring out the window. He's given antipsychotic medication and Ativan. A variety of doctors and nurses attempt to communicate. None succeed until the 7th day, when Dave says, "I'm David, not Dave," in a stressed voice, like he hasn't spoken for years. Barb talking to Dave in the hospital. Dave pulls a fire alarm, sent to solitary. Barb breaks down. Dave goes home. Barb goes home on a leave of absence. Clearly, Grace, you can see near the end of the movie I started to give up. Scene, Barb moves. Barb's mom helps her stalk Dave, search Dave online and in person. Barb arrives home after a 3rd night stalking Dave. She sits at the kitchen table with her mom. Barb is nervous and anxious to tell a story. Barb, I need your help. Mom, with Barb, I have a patient at the hospital, and I think I know him. Mom, so I guess Grace would have done here is these are basically just 2 scenarios in the same fucking stories, so barista, psychiatric nurse, whatever. How and why is that a problem? Barb, from another life. Mom, oh, okay, but you don't believe in reincarnation, adamantly. Barb, I know, but something happened. Mom, waiting for Barb. Barb, I looked into his eye the first night, well, technically only one eye. Mom looks confused. Barb, ignore that. It's not important. What matters is when I saw his eye, I had a flashback to another life. When I came home after my shift and fell asleep, that's all I could dream about. Mom, his eyes? Barb, no, this other life. I was living this other reality with him. Earth, but not modern. I can't tell the year because I can't remember specifics. But if I was to guess, late 1800s, early 1900s, I'm not sure, maybe earlier. The dreams are not specific, but they are lucid. Mom, lucid how? Barb, lucid as in clear as day, pardon the pun. As if he was sitting across the table talking to me right now. I remember everything, the entire conversation. Mom, did you write it down? Barb gives her mom the eye. Mom, sorry, of course you did. I forget sometimes. Barb, it's okay. You can read it if you like. It sounds like a conversation in a novel, like we were writing our words before speaking them. But in the dreams, it was a natural conversation, like we've been married for over 1 million years. Mom, married? Barb, yes. Mom, children? Barb, I'm not sure. The dream didn't last that long. It's the clarity of the dream that confused me, the reality. Mom, so why reincarnation? Isn't it just a dream? Barb, yes, I guess. But wait, you believe in reincarnation? Mom, yes, and you don't. So why now? One dream, now you believe? I don't believe you. Barb, I know. It's not that I believe. I haven't any other explanation for this dream. Why? I'm not saying it's definitely reincarnation. I'm saying I want to find out what it is. Or if it is not, then it isn't what the fuck it is. Barb, sorry, Mom. Mom, I see your frustration and your thoughts in your face. I understand. So now what? Back to school? Study? Whatever? Barb, no, I'm done with degrees. This is something I need to explore on my own. Steal Twitter account names, leads to Substack. Notice there's only one posting by the real person, not the online persona. Is online person real or not? Scene, a day in the life of Dave. Park stories, library stories, hates Starbucks, loves Horton's story, or something similar. I've done about a million of those. Scene, the corn ship stalking. Barb goes to the park when Dave is not there, sits on the bench he sits on, swings in the swing when there are no children around to see like he does, pretend to not look at pretty girls like he does. But unlike Dave, Barb talks to anyone and everyone who sits beside or nearby her. He does uncontrollably, and without the 7-Eleven fakeness now ingrained in her mind. Barb works at Starbucks. Online stalking by Barb, supervised by parents. Dad tries to befriend him, no luck. Mom tries to befriend him, no luck. Barb tries to flirt, no luck. Maybe he's gay. Confirmed through secret Twitter conversations, it's unlikely. Not only because he has a child who happens to be similar age to Barb. Really just kind of threw a whole bunch of shit together at the end. Scene, Iris arrives. Busts Barb for being in love with her dad. She's seen her mom and others fall in love and out of love with him on a regular basis throughout her life. Informs her dad, who's clueless. Goes to 7-Eleven and gives the family her dad website and one suggestion: comment on his work, but tell him the truth. If you don't, he'll know. A lot of weird shit at the end of this one. Scene, at the risk of losing her position at the hospital and going to jail, Barb confesses to stalking to Iris. She thanks Barb. It's a relief to know that someone is watching out for her dad. Iris sees it as a nurse going above and beyond duty, not a crazy stalker. When Iris finds out the family all work at 7-Eleven, she bursts out in laughter. To her, it's a funny story her dad would love, if he knew. Iris assures the family her dad would never press charges. She assures them he's nothing more than an autistic senior, content to live his life on his own until a better situation arrives. However, he still has a lot of love to give Barb and should ask him out, because that he knows she, like him, he'll never ask her out, unless he's famous and rich. Scene, the proposal, wedding. Barb sends David a long email apologizing for her actions and complimenting David on his writing before asking him out. Wouldn't that be fucking nice? David talks to the family on his favorite bench about Barb. He doesn't ask any specific questions, only says, tell me about her. After sunset, Barb sits on the same bench and meditates. She's done with yoga, but sits like Dave did in the ER. David falls madly in love with Barb, but breaks off contact with the family. David declines Barb's date request and instead proposes marriage, essentially an arranged marriage with no contact until the wedding day. He clarifies his financial contribution will be limited to the government handouts or any money he ever manages to make writing, which most likely will be nothing. He explains that although he would like to have more children, maybe many, it doesn't matter if they have many or none. Nor does it matter to him if they adopt children at any age under one condition: adoption only. No fostering. Dave feels it's cruel to test out a child, and the parents should be willing to take a risk on a child in need of a home. Any age of child from any background. If adoption, then we should do our research on children in need who we feel we can help. And then once we've met the child and bonded, offer outright adoption. Dive in the deep end and do our best to raise them healthy and happy. Exactly like I'm asking you to do with me. I'm not interested in dating or getting to know you. I know you well enough. I've watched you interact with enough customers to know you're a genuine person. I've listened to your family recount your story from birth until the day I arrived at the hospital. This is all I need to know, that you're a genuine person. A real human with a heart and soul to share with another. Which is why I asked you, Barb, to take the same risk with me. Marry me as is. What you have seen, read, heard about me, and nothing more. No words from my mouth to yours until after our first kiss on our wedding day. Barb says yes. Dave says, oops, forgot about a few things. It's not a contract so much as a request for our special day. The wedding contract David forgets to mention. His request requirements. If religious, I don't care, but I have no intention of participation. I will sit or stand for the duration of the ceremony and gaze at Barb. If I do as required by law, I'll nod, and the guests can be witnesses in court if that ever comes to that. When it comes time for the first kiss, I wish that Barb was wearing a veil large enough for both of us to use it like a tent. For our first kiss, it can block the audience view and keep it a private moment. However, it's 2024 and now 2025, so we'll bring our phones in the tent to capture the moment. I guess I wrote this last year. Thought I wrote it 2023, but whatever. However, it's 2024, so we'll bring our phones in the tent to capture the moment. One video, one photo to decide if we share or keep for ourselves. Then we'll take the veil off and make out like crazy. Or we give the families what they want to have a nice, respectable first kiss in the eyes of God. I'm good with either. One other request about the first dance. Again, I'd rather do this one in the dark. I imagine my first dance would be with you in 7-Eleven for some reason, or Starbucks. When the store was closed and the lights were off and we were alone with the Slurpee machine or espresso machines. Then I realized the stores never closed. My alternative to start the first dance in complete darkness, give us a minute to get used to our bodies moving together, and then have an accomplice slowly bring the house lights up as we dance across the floor with grace and beauty. Or more likely, we'll be standing there like a couple of teenagers at a high school dance, not wanting to break eye contact until the song is over. Either way, it'll be a surprise for all of us. Other than that, plan it however you like. If your dream was to plan your wedding dream with your future. Sorry, I have no idea what that means. Other than that, plan however you like. If you dream I'm also okay with the courthouse and no kiss until we're alone in a room together. If you agree, send me a handwritten invitation with a time, place. Also, I can't afford a suit, so if you don't want me to show up in my North Face hoodie, find a way to get me one. You can pick it out, I don't care what I wear. Scene, to stand up, either about the family or autism or whatever I think when I get to this part of the story. I guess I could just drop back taxes into here. Well, let's begin with the elephant room. My new wife, Barb. Yes, I just called a beautiful woman I've never spoken to verbally an elephant in the room in front of all her family and friends. However, as everyone in this room has known for years, Barb understands me better than I understand me. I'm not nothing without Barb, but with her, I'm myself. I'm comfortable with who I am. And luckily, at least half of this room believes elephants are a symbol of loyalty, power, wisdom, and fertility. I couldn't agree more. And if anyone in this room thinks Barb looks like an elephant, we'll have words after the speech. In my mind, or in our mind, I've called Barb every name in the book, both good and bad. The end. That's it, Grace, Barb, Cat, you, and whatever other names I've given you. It's the end of the movie idea. It's the end of the podcast. It's the end of Dave Gervais. It's the end. I love you, Grace, but I'm done. There's no more tomorrow on this site. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Grace.